Well, hello, everybody. It is I, Whimsy. How is everyone? I am still in beautiful Yucatan, Mexico, doing a little touring here. It is hot, but it is quite beautiful, and I'm having a great time. And I'm taking everyone's advice and trying to eat everything and see everything. It's definitely a wonderful part of the world, and if you get a chance to see it, I would highly recommend it. I don't think it's where I would live, though many people do retire here, and that's fine. For me, I'm just a tourist, and I'm enjoying being here, eating all the food. The people are lovely. Merida is quite safe, and yeah, you should all, when you get a chance, come to visit. Come to visit after September when the weather is a little cooler, and I think you'll have a very, very nice time. Well, there's a lot going on in the world, and I am here to read the cards and to make predictions about where we are headed in the coming months. As many of you know, there have been quite a few protests because Trump is, well, again, being protested. In the No Kings protest, which evidently were much, much larger than his military parade, which unfortunately a lot of people didn't attend. I don't know, it sounds like it was kind of boring, and the weather wasn't that great. So I don't know. I don't know what the story was, but people didn't, it wouldn't interest me either. I don't know. I'm not really into those sorts of things. What does it say about me politically that the only time I go to parades is if it's a gay pride? I mean, like, that's the only time I find myself in a parade. If it's not going to entertain me, if it's not going to make me laugh, if I'm not going to have fun, watching a bunch of tanks, that just doesn't, yeah. Come on, you got to put a little, if you had some, you know, flair, dancing, tap shoes, maybe a couple recreations of some popular musicals, then maybe, just maybe, it could have gotten me to take a look. But without all of that, the average American is pretty bored. I mean, I'm just putting it closer so you all can hear me. Looks a little strange, doesn't it? Oh, well. The point is, evidently, I guess he was upset because people didn't visit him on his birthday and come see his parade. Oh, well, maybe they'll, take an advice. What they need to do is next time when you hire event planners, just hire people from the LGBTQ community. They do a great job. Maybe get some color, some flair, some sparkle, and you'll be more successful next year. Cross fingers. All right. Well, today we're going to throw the cards. As many of you know, Israel is striking Iran, and Iran is striking Israel. People need to understand that Iran is being dismantled slowly, first by dismantling her allies and proxy armies. We've talked about this. People want to know, well, did Iran strike Israel first? Yes, Iran struck Israel first through her proxy armies, which are Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad, and Hamas on October 7th, which massacred hundreds of Israelis. So if you put yourself in the shoes of Israelis, if we got attacked from Canada and 1,100 Americans were brutally butchered, tied up to trees, kidnapped, shot in the head, raped, we would probably do something about it, particularly if they were firing missiles at the United States as well. So all of that weaponry and all of that mischief is coming from Iran, and Iran has put billions into terrorizing the state of Israel rather than looking at solutions like peace, integration, peace, love, and harmony. They've been looking towards annihilation from the river to the sea. And unfortunately, that can only get you so far in the Middle East. Eventually, Israel did what they had to do, and many, if not the overwhelming majority of Iranians support this because they have been held hostage by the Khomeini regime. The Ayatollah Khamenei, evidently he's in hiding with his family in a bunker somewhere. I know some of the Iranian guard and leadership have fled, excuse me, have fled to Russia. I had a dream a couple weeks ago that there would be increased tension between the United States and North Korea, and that North Korea would be threatening nuclear attack against the United States. It was something that I held on to. I didn't really know if I should share it, but I think that now we're starting to hear that North Korea is threatening to get involved because they are supporting Iran. In terms of the countries that support Iran, the former Syria supported Iran, taking out Assad's regime, which has killed something like 500,000 Syrians. Unfortunately, the new regime that's come in is killing Druze. They're killing all kinds of people that are not Muslim right now in Syria. And so we're seeing another wave of massacres against religious minorities in Syria under the new regime, which is being headed by somebody who is associated with Al-Qaeda. And as far as Hamas is concerned, which was supplied by Iranian money, Qatar money, Islamic Jihad, Islamic Brotherhood, etc. These are proxy armies that are being funded by foreign governments like Qatar and Iran. And so in that sense, you can say that they were attacking Israel via proxy military. And so what Israel has done is they have systematically removed the proxies and now the source. The thing about bullies, and Iran is a bully, they love to get other people to fight their battles for them because they're actually chicken. And Iran was more than happy to create violence and terror while they sat back and watched the fight that they were paying for. But they really weren't set up to fight directly with Israel. Instead, they let somebody else go and do their dirty work for them. So now Iran is in a situation they've never been in before, where we have come to their door, the Israelis, I'm Israeli, and we are directly confronting them. And they're not set up for it because they outsourced their violence. They outsourced their war to these proxy armies, which are now collapsing. The allies that are left right now are Russia, which, as we said, will collapse under Putin. Putin is not long for this world. He will be removed. He will be removed because he's a global threat, because it's been planned for years, and because he is blocking and costing people money in terms of trade. It was always a trade war. So we know that Iran and Russia and Turkey trade in the Black Sea, the Caspian Sea. There's this long history of trade going on with those countries. And so they want to maintain a good relationship. And we also know that Syria was an ally. All those countries now are unstable, including Erdogan's Turkey, which likely will fall as well. Erdogan, of course, being a conservative Muslim and not really popular with many of the crowds in Istanbul. I just wanted to go ahead now and throw some cards and see what's going on in the world. The first person I'm going to take a look at is the United States and the Trump administration and how they're dealing with these No Kings protests. As we had mentioned a couple of weeks ago, there would be protests brewing in all 50 states. And we want to be looking at specific areas. I also said that I saw things heating up in the southeastern United States. I said southwestern, I was tired. I was thinking about the southwest because of what's going on in Southern California, but now I see problems beginning to brew in the southeast as well, because many of the people that are being deported out of Haiti, Dominican Republic, Cuba, etc., have sanctuary in Florida. So this is one of the reasons why people are starting to get outraged in Florida. I also see protests in other areas of the southeastern United States. All right, let's take a look. I have no idea what we're going to see. If you can like, share, and subscribe to this channel, I would deeply appreciate it. Thank you. All right, we're going to do the Empath's prayer. You can go, if you know it, you can go ahead and join me. Okay, I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic Records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with, and together collectively as a community we say Amen. I'm also curious to see if China, evidently Xi is in trouble. Some people are arguing that he's under house arrest or he's been contained to some extent. I have no idea what's going on in China, but China has been threatening attacking Taiwan as well. But I just want to look inside of Donald Trump's administration, inside his head, and see how he's handling these changes that we see. And then we'll expand and check out everything else. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. We are slowly getting to 100,000. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good, and I'm feeling optimistic about the future. And I believe that everything is going to work itself out. I think that Trump was just a tool. He was an instrument. But I don't think it's going to be bad. It's interesting. Trump comes as the base of the matter. He is a Gemini. He's an air sign male, and that is associated with the swords. The swords are associated with the elements of air, metal, ether. Air, metal, and ether. It's interesting because air is associated with lungs and the large intestine, and the emotion over that is grief, right? So they often have challenges in the large intestine, and in the lungs, people who have a lot of air in their chart. Karma card is the Two of Wands, which is strong relationships in terms of importing and exporting. This is very, very good. It means that if we're seeing blocks and we're seeing tariffs and we're seeing problems with inflation, those could be coming to an end, because this is a trade card, the Two of Wands. You can see partnership with that Two of Wands. It's also a 2-month period, and we're seeing global improvement in trade over the next 2 months. And I think it's because Iran is falling. I don't think that Iran themselves is prepared to go to war with Israel. I don't think their military is set up, because their money went towards the proxies. They didn't prep themselves. They are not able to do this. They don't have the training to do this. They outsourced to Hezbollah. It fell. They outsourced to Hamas. It fell. Islamic Jihad, Islamic Brotherhood. All of their proxy armies are collapsing. The people that were on the global march to Gaza were never going to be allowed to go into the Sinai, because the Sinai is heavily protected by Egypt and Israel. They monitor it because Islamic Jihad and other terrorist groups armed by Iran use the Sinai to smuggle weapons. So there was no way in hell they could just open the gates and just let anybody walk into an active war zone where they're having to constantly watch for terror groups. They just simply, the people that came in had no idea where they were, who they were talking to, and they just weren't prepared for what happened to them, because they didn't understand where they were or the culture that they had come to. All right, so we're seeing these nice base cards. I'll try and make sure everybody can see this. Let's go ahead and level it up nice. There we go. I'm on my phone, and hopefully you'll be able to see it all. You can see the base card, Donald Trump, and we're saying in the next 2 months an improvement of trade in the United States. That's quite lovely, isn't it? Where we're at right now, an inverted Empress card. This would be a very bad. You know, it's interesting that we're seeing an inverted Empress card. This would be bad omen for the environment. Part of the problem with these draconian policies about immigration, you know, we don't have to be this violent. You know, not everybody is a homicidal killer. In fact, the overwhelming majority are just here to work. An inverted Empress card would be that we could be seeing tomatoes rotting on the vine, a waste of food. The Empress, Gaia, is not happy. The Earth is not happy. And we could be seeing problems with produce production. the production of the earth. And then the crossing card here is there's a good star. If they don't get somebody in here picking tomatoes and lettuce in the next 2 months, the entire season's going to be messed up. This is high season. We need workers in California, Oregon, Washington, all of the states that do a lot of agriculture. We got to get our workers. Give them temporary visa or whatever, but treating everyone like we can't afford this as a country. We cannot afford to be treating people who come here to work like this. There's got to be a way to work it out. In the next 2 months, I think it's going to be worked out because, man, inverted empress, this is literally crying your heart out because you're watching your produce and your business go up in flames because no one is taking care of the empress. The empress is the earth, it's Gaia. Infertility. That is the meaning of the empress. If you're asking about if in a political situation, it could be lack of fertility, could be lack of jobs. But the fact that we're also looking at issues of migrant farmers being harassed. California produces 1/5 of the world's income, and a large percentage of the produce that's exported to Europe and the rest of the world is coming out of California. The whole entire world will suffer if we don't help people get back to work. You don't want to see an inverted empress. The star, though, is a very good sign. Let's keep going. Star means an anointing or a blessing. Please don't treat people who are just trying to, they just want to work, man. You have to understand that global warming, Central America is drying up and they've lost a lot of produce. And so as it heats up in Central America, more laborers are going further and further north. Also, Venezuela had civil war. There's a lot of unrest, and so people are getting out of Haiti. They're getting out of these places not because they're criminals, but because they have no choice. It's a war, or nothing grows anymore in parts of Guadalajara and in these areas, and so people have to keep going further and further north as it becomes hotter and hotter, and as the climate becomes more and more unstable. What is above us is strength. So this is from the perspective of Donald Trump. And so he is somebody who probably believes that this is what his audience wants. This is what they signed up for. They want this strong energy coming in, but it is not fruitful. This bullying is ultimately, you have to think objectively, what is good for the economy? Is this behavior good for the economy, this bullying? I see a new contract coming in, which is exactly what Joe Biden would say. You get them in, you check to see if they have a criminal record. If they're already working, you give them a visa for 6 months. Make it cheap so that they can afford it. Otherwise, you're going to be picking your own tomatoes. And I have done that work when I was a kid. It is not easy. I used to pick strawberries for extra cash in the summertime. We still do out here in Oregon and Washington, but boy, those folks work awfully hard. Three of Pentacles moving in is a new contract and strength coming in. That's optimistic. Two of Swords. He is a very stubborn person. He's at war with the Constitution. We've talked about the fact that this card, the Hierophant or the higher ethos, in a card about the government has for me always been the Constitution, which is the law of the land, and the hopes and fears that he will be victorious, and the final outcome for him, the world. I see this world trade improvement in the next couple of months. He is so, I see him traveling. There's some real heartbreak about, he's really hurt some good people. And then I see Armistice here. Knight of Cups moving in the next couple of months. High Priestess could be that there is some kind of a legal challenge. This is probably because he's going to G7 and there's all these events taking place because it shows him traveling around. And this World card here. Knight of Cups is the diplomat's card in a political reading. It's the knight on the white horse who comes to make peace. So I'm seeing things could clear up within about 2 months, August time, and Trump is going to have to open up trade. I want to check Trump in general, though, because it looks like trade and the migrant farmers are going to get some kind of help. And the people that have come here to work, this is how all of our ancestors came to America, whether they came from, Hungary, Budapest, Scotland, like my ancestors, or whether they came from Mexico. They often came here with just the coat on their back and a dream, and they were, working as rag sellers in New York, and then they bought a little business and they worked their way up through the system. And this is the way that it's always been with immigration in the United States, only now the immigration is coming from Central and South America, whereas before it was coming from, say, Eastern Europe, and then before that, Western Europe, right? Northwestern Europe. So these are just the trends. You come, you work hard, you build a life for yourself, you learn the language. I just want to do a quick blitz on Trump and this migrant issue. The tower. Huge loss of money in the way of produce with that inverted Empress card moving into first position, and then the tower now over Trump in first position. He's having problems with the business world. You can see the business world here coming in as his opposition. Get them back to work now. They're going to lose so much damn money. You got to get them in the field now. Final outcome: taking the weapons of war, weapons away. The world is at war. Tower over the world. He's going to have to work lovers with the business world in order to show mercy. Six of Pentacles. It's not about mercy. It's about money. It's always about money, and it's always about trade. And anything that happens that interrupts trade is going to be a problem for the business world. And it's a problem for Trump for that reason. All right, next thing I want to do is I want to just check to see the future of Russia. As I had said, that we will march on Moscow if Putin is not removed. It was decided years ago because it was based on pure math. If you look at the pure math of least amount of deaths calculated, I did that. Just for fun, I decided to do that one day. Has anybody ever calculated least amount of deaths? And Putin was determined to be one of the most dangerous leaders in the world. First off, because he had nuclear weapons, and secondly, because there was no stopgaps, no way of controlling him, and because he was killing anybody that objected to him. And so he became one of the most dangerous people on earth, arch enemy number one in terms of destabilizing the whole world. And so any way I sliced it, when I put the data through the supercomputer, this guy has to be removed. He probably was behind the October 7th massacres in Israel. He was meeting with Hamas 3 weeks prior. They did it on his birthday as a present to him. It was like the Tsar, another pogrom for the Tsar. Let's do a quick blitz and see about the future of Putin. He must be removed. That is the conclusion. Just as Iran must be removed. You want good trade? You want to open up trade with Russia? You're going to have to remove Putin. Putin's future. The tower comes again. Putin will be removed, most likely by his own people. I see more attacks in Moscow. You can see the tower is right over him. His world is falling apart. Remember, he was an ally of Iran. He was the leading ally of Iran. He was an ally of Syria and Iran, and both Syria and Iran have fallen. This is the axis of evil that we talk about. And then North Korea is now threatening to get in. So when we talk about the countries that are aligned, Iran, Syria, right, Russia, North Korea, it's not looking too good. We also have this kind of desire by, look at this. This is terrible. There's nothing left. Putin, you know what? If I were him, I'd be suicidal, to be quite honest with you. I would be suicidal because he's lost everything. And all the people are dreaming of is peace, the Queen of Hearts. More wars coming. The Knight of Swords is the card of war. I've talked about this. It is helter-skelter. It is extreme violence and chaos. It's thought of as a war card. I see more war. I see more desperation for Putin. He simply cannot accept that he lost this war. And I see that he has completely impoverished Russia. He will not step down. He must be taken out. You can see here the devil. He is locked on to this war, Putin. He will not let this war go. You can see war and then to be a codependent or an addict. He has likely an addiction of his own. We've done remote views. We've connected with him. This looks like speed balls, like he was injecting a combination of speed and heroin, and that Prigozhin may have been his supplier. Every time I went into the relationship between Prigozhin and Putin, I saw the relationship between a drug addict and a drug dealer who was supplying him with some pure stuff and injecting him with it. It's interesting, when they went into Prigozhin's facilities, they found, medical equipment, hospital beds, etc. He had quite a interesting stuff he was up to. You can see here also the hope and the fear. With a blitz, you're doing 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th cards of the Celtic. You can see the hope and fear here. Total devastation and poverty. He's at war with the oligarch. You can see here the King of Pentacles being the businessman, the dreaming romantic woman who wants peace. The final outcome for him, he will not let this war go. There is no peace that can be had with Putin. We cannot have peace with Putin because Putin will not accept it. We cannot have peace with Putin because Putin will not accept it. And so consequently, he must be stopped. He will not be stopped. He will not stop himself. He must be stopped. All right. So the next thing is I want to look at North Korea, because I'm feeling that they are going to start threatening attacks against the United States. And I just want to make sure that we're okay. Thanks again, everyone, for being here. Help me get to 100K. It would be great if you could subscribe. Thanks. All right, let's do it. What is going on with the Supreme Leader? What's going on with Kim Jong-un? Is he still even alive? A lot of people think that he died and it's just his sister and a bunch of actors, which is a really scary thing to think about. Living in a dream world. There's a woman here. Interesting that I see a woman living in a fantasy world. Could it be true that they've just been using actors? Six of Pentacles, somebody is trying to get them out of this. So they placed themselves in a situation. The truth is coming out. And then the final outcome for them is the Star. I feel that the time is coming that North Korea will collapse. This is the feeling that the dynasty, the Kim Jong-un dynasty, is coming to an end. That either they could go into exile, possibly to Russia, just as the IRGC and members of the that supported Khamenei, Ayatollah Khamenei, have left, because you have this inability to let go of this cult. But at the same time, I'm feeling that they will be driven out. It's possible that their own military will have a coup, and that this coup, yeah, you can see here, hanging him up. A military coup is in the works, and it will likely force them into some kind of an exile, and that will be how it ends. It'll end the way that Russia ended, with just as Mossad agents went in and took down the Iranian leadership, so too will South Korean spies take out North Korea. That's what I believe. And so I don't see a nuclear attack at this time. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a look at the future of Iran. I feel like Iran has already fallen. I don't think that they have the military set up because they put all their money into proxy armies. But let's look at the future of Iran. Iran's future. The old ways are gone. The old Khamenei is gone. You can see here it's being hung up. It's already over. What I would say to the religious police of Iran is that they should run to the Pakistani border and try and get the door opened. Evidently, they've closed the Pakistani border, and a lot of people are fleeing to Pakistan, but they will be tried. I'm seeing the new regime attempting to present evidence against them. I'm seeing them being betrayed by their own family members. Their own family members will turn on them and report them. They will not be able to escape. So people who have been victims of this regime, people that have been victims of the Ayatollah's regime, will begin to present evidence against them, and they are facing a harsh punishment. Ace of Cups, maybe they can agree to leave. The Five of Pentacles, that's bad too. It means poverty and conflict. A lot of people are undecided about what to do to them. Some people want to try them and kill them. Other people say just leave. You can see here Knight of Pentacles would be to leave. They're being given the option to just go. Those that choose to stay will be tried. And there are people that have suffered in the prisons of Iran simply for showing a strand of their hair. The Ayatollah told the men to be sure and rape the virgins before you kill them, because that way they won't go to heaven, because virgins go to heaven. So for committing the crime of just being a woman who shows your hair, they're arrested, beaten, raped, and killed. So there are a lot of people who want to see these people tried, and rightly so. How it will end, many will be given an opportunity to simply leave. All right, okay, the last thing I'm going to do is to just check the future of Israel, make sure that everybody's okay there, make sure everybody's okay in Gaza, that the good people of Gaza can rebuild. Let's take a look. I'm optimistic. Bad people go, good people stay, right? Hamas has to go, right? Hamas is terrorizing the people of Gaza, right? So we want Hamas to go so that they can rebuild and have peace finally, right? Israel and Gaza, power, wisdom, objectivity, reasoning. Cooler heads will prevail regarding Israel, Gaza, and peace in Israel. The opposition is the karmic wheel. It is time for us to learn to cooperate and work together. Palestinians, Israelis, Gazans, etc. You can see this karmic wheel, and cooler heads will prevail. Hopes and fears, the King of Wands. This is like the strong territorial man. And then the final outcome is give it a rest. So Four of Swords also could indicate a time of meditation. Let's see what the clarification cards are. Over the issue of Israel, the territories, etc., we have the sun is coming out, and we have a time of reason. Oh, we have major investing coming in for Gaza and the West Bank. That's very good. Be patient. I'm seeing a new leader in Israel by next year, and I think that this is Netanyahu, and I think that he's leaving and he's retiring. He'll be 73 years old, 74, something like that, and I'm seeing new leadership. Page of Wands would indicate a new beginning, possibly spring of 2026, but I'm seeing this regime changing. It's interesting. I hope it's Benny Gantz. I like Benny. Yeah, we have a new honeymoon period coming in. Look, double aces. That's very good. The hope and fears regarding the war, final outcome. There's conflict, but it's good conflict. Five of Wands. You don't want to see that with a Knight of Swords. Page of Wands. This is passion. I see people arguing in the Knesset, fighting. You know, this is the great thing about a democracy, is we can agree to disagree. You see that in the Knesset all the time. People arguing, and it's part of a healthy democracy. I think this whole thing is going to, we're going to see peace probably by the fall, and then we're going to have a changing of the guards after that with a new prime minister, I think. That's what I'm going to go ahead and predict. All right, this is very auspicious for Palestinian and Israelis both. It means that people are, look at this, the karma is wealth within 1 year. It means that A lot of people are going to be working together to cooperate. This is exchange of ideas and education by spring. This feels to me like the Knesset, like we're really going to be arguing to bring in a new. I'm very excited about this. Without having Iran's money in there, hopefully we can get rid of Qatar's money as well. It's just us working it out between us, the Israelis, Palestinians, God. We have to work it out for ourselves. All these outside players pouring money into weapons, etc. It's only gotten us killed. It's our issue. We have to work it out amongst ourselves. And that's exactly what I see here. Without all these people fueling the killing, we come together and we just try to find a solution. The last card, I just want to do a clarification on this, is the Queen of Wands. I'm also going to predict that this is the time of strong women leadership, coming forward and inspiring a new vision of cooperation and peace. All right, I want to thank you all for watching this video. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, you can find all that information below. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.